Widgets are one of the most powerful and versatile tools on the iPhone, but most people aren't really using them. Do you know how to make the most out of widgets on your iPhone? Stick around and find out. I'm Stewart, the Mac Whisperer, and in today's lesson, we're going to talk all about widgets on the iPhone, how to create them, what they're good for, how to use them, and how to make the most of them. Don't leave before you hear my MacWhisperer Power Tip, because this will alter how you use widgets and how you organize things on your phone forever. Your iPhone will thank you for it. Let's hop on over to the phone and let's get started. The first thing we need to talk about is, what is a widget? Before we talk about what a widget is, let's look at this screen here. Here I've got 4 separate apps. I've got a Photos app, my Reminders app, my Notes app, and my Calendar app. I use these apps all the time, every single day. But when I want to do something with these apps, it can be a several-step process to get to what I need. For example, when I want to see what's on my calendar today, I've got to start by clicking on the Calendar app. And then depending on what screen I left my calendar on the last time, it could be 2, 3, or 4 steps every time I need to check my calendar. It's annoying. The same is true if I want to open a specific note. I can click on Notes, but depending on what note I left things on, I might have to hunt around and search and click on a couple of things in order to get to the note that I'm looking for. Also annoying. If I want to get to my reminders list for my most important reminders, it's the same process. I got to click on it, click the back arrow, find the particular reminders list I want, and then get started. 3 or 4 steps. And what if I want to see a photo from my favorites album? Well, I got to click on the Photos app, and then I've got to find my favorites album and click on that, and then locate the particular picture that I'm looking for. Too many steps. Widgets can be used to simplify every one of those processes. So we're going to work with these 4 apps today with widgets, but there's tons of widgets out there that can work on all sorts of different apps. The purpose of a widget is to bring the information you need in front of you, sometimes without even clicking on it once. But before we jump right in and start creating our first widget, let's talk about widget sizes. Widgets can be one of 3 different sizes: small, medium, or large. The widget sizes are measured by how many apps that widget will replace. If I wanted to get a small widget, it is 2 apps wide and 2 apps tall, covering up the 4 apps in the upper left corner. The medium-sized widget is 2 apps high and 4 apps wide, covering all 8 of the apps that I see at the top. And then there's the large widget, which is 4 apps tall and 4 apps wide and would cover more than half of this screen. So before you just create a widget, be aware of these different sizes, because when you put it onto your page, you're going to need to fit it there. Now let's create a widget. There's multiple ways to get to the widget screen, but it starts by going into edit mode. Press anywhere in the open space on your phone and hold your finger down. Everything starts to wiggle, letting you know that you're in edit mode. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see a plus button. Tapping that plus button gets you into the widget screen. Up at the top, you're going to see widget suggestions. To add a widget, press and hold on it, and then drag it into position. This is a small widget that takes up 4 apps of space, 2 across and 2 down. Removing widgets is also easy once you're in the edit mode. When everything's wiggling, all you have to do is press that little minus button in the top left corner and click remove. Now we're going to create another widget. I'm going to hit the plus button, and this time we're going to scroll down past the suggestions into this list here. This list is alphabetical, and it can allow you to find any widget from any app on your phone. Any app that has widgets available are going to show up here, whether it's an Apple app like Books or Calendar, or a third-party app like Audible or Asana. In this particular case, we're going to go down to the calendar, and I'm going to click on it here. Here we see multiple options for calendar widgets. Up at the top, it tells us what kind of widget this is. This is an Up Next widget that's going to show you some of the next appointments for the current day. First, we've got our small view. If I swipe, I can go to the medium view. You'll notice the medium view, taking up 4 across and 2 down, gives more information. Or I can go over to this view, which gives me a full day worth of information, but it's going to take up most of the screen space. Swiping over again, we'll see a widget that can show the current date, or the current month, or even a list of all of your upcoming appointments, again in the large view. In this case, and for most of this video, we're going to talk specifically about the medium-sized widget. Again, to add a widget, press and hold on it and drag it into whatever position you want. Now, right from here, with this calendar widget, I can easily see what's going on today without even needing to click on the Calendars app. It makes it simple and easy for me to immediately know what's up on my calendar without having to take the next steps. Let's go ahead and add another widget. Pressing and holding on my screen, I click the plus button in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to scroll back down again, and this time we're going to go to Photos. There it is right here. Let's click on Photos. Again, there are different widget types within this section. Up above, we see where it says Featured. This particular widget will show photographs that Apple has determined are important and valuable photos for you to see. You can't really customize what shows up in these featured views, so it's not my favorite widget. When I swipe over, I can see the medium-sized feature widget, or even the large-sized featured widget. But it's still not my favorite kind of photos widget. Let's swipe again, and here we get one that will point to any album that you want. This is perfect because I want to point it to my favorites album. In this case, I'm going to swipe over and grab the medium one, and I'm going to press and hold and drag it onto the screen. Now you'll notice because widgets are fairly large, they've taken up all the space on this screen and they bumped our apps over to the next page. That's fine, we're going to keep adding widgets just so that we can talk about each of these separate apps. So now let's grab a Reminders widget. Press and hold, click the plus button. This time I'm going to search for it to make it easy to find. I type in Reminders and I click on it. This is a 2x2 widget that will show some of the events in one of my reminders lists, but you can see it's a little too small to see things properly. So I'm going to go over to the medium size because that just makes the most sense for this project. Press and hold and drag it right into position. And let's wrap things up by grabbing a Notes widget. Pressing and holding, clicking the plus button. Let's do the search for notes right here. You'll see a small one that points to a folder, a medium one that points to a folder, a large one that points to a folder, or a small one that points to a specific note. So if there's a note on your phone that you're constantly accessing, consider this small widget to jump right to it and be able to see it on your screen without having to hunt around for it. In this case, we're going to stick with the folder, and I'm going to press and hold on the medium one and drag it into place. So now what we've done is we've replaced all 4 of these apps with 4 separate widgets: a calendar widget that shows me upcoming events, a photos widget that can be pointed to any album. When you want to edit what a widget looks at, press and hold on the widget and choose where it says Edit Widget right here. This will give me the option to choose any album from my photo library to show on this widget. In this case, it picked favorites, which is what I want anyways, so we'll leave that there. Now let's swipe over to the next page where I've got my reminders list. Pressing and holding on that will allow me to edit that widget and choose any one of the lists that I need access to regularly. Let's grab our today list here and let's click away from it. Now that shows the events that are most important and are due today. Same is true for notes. Pressing and holding on it and clicking the edit widget will allow me to choose which notes folder I want, which in this case I'm going to point to my YouTube folder and click away like that. And what's great is if I'm working on things like the reminders widget, I can tap on the little circle to complete any specific thing that I've already done without even having to open up the app. And if I'd like to see one of the notes that's inside of this YouTube folder, I can simply tap on it and it will open that note right up, making it super simple for me to get right to business without hunting around. Going in through apps is great, but it's usually 2 or 3 steps and you can't always customize that. But your widgets are customizable and you can point them to whatever you want, meaning that the information you need is in front of you without you having to click on the app itself. But if you add a ton of widgets, you end up with stuff spread out over multiple pages, which is where a topic called widget stacks come in. If you have widgets that are the same size, you can easily take any one of them, pressing and holding, and drag it on top of another one to create a widget stack. Now let's take this widget stack and let's move over to our other screen, and we'll drop this widget right on top of this one. And let's grab the Photos widget and add that as well. Now we have space to come grab these apps again and put them back on the page with the widgets. Now I've got all of these widgets here stacked on top of each other, along with the apps that they support beneath them. This allows me to easily click on the app or click on the widget. But Dylan, you say, all I can see is your Photos widget. Widget stacks are really smart, and you can edit and customize them, but you can also simply flick through them. So here we've got our Photos widget, and if I just flick directly on this widget here, there's my Reminders widget, my Notes widget, and my Calendar widget. So I can quickly flick to the widget I need and get right to business. But that's not the most effective way to use a widget stack. If you press and hold on a widget stack, you'll get an option that says Edit Stack. I'm going to click on that here. And that brings up this screen, which allows me to see what widgets are in this stack. I can remove any by clicking the minus button in the upper left-hand corner if I want to, or I can reorganize them so certain widgets are in front of other ones. Down in the lower left corner, we see something called Smart Rotate. And Smart Rotate means that your iPhone will learn which widget you use at what time of day. For example, in the morning, I usually use my calendar. In the afternoon, I usually use Notes or Reminders. And when I'm not in the middle of anything important, I like to look at Photos. So it will automatically move those widgets around depending on what I am most likely to look at that time of day, and it learns. But if you want more control over what shows at any given time, you can just turn Smart Rotate off and it will stay on whatever widget you left it on. So if I leave it on Photos, it's going to stay on Photos. And if I flick it over to Notes, it's going to stay on Notes until I change it again. Let's press and hold again. Let's go back to Edit Stack. In addition to that, by clicking the plus button in the upper right-hand corner, I can add additional widgets into this stack. So if I wanted to add my reading list from Safari, I could press and hold, and I could drag it right into the stack without having to go through a whole lot of steps. This makes it easy to customize these widget stacks right from this screen. On the bottom right side, we see widget suggestions. This means that Apple will suggest widgets based on the apps that you use right into this stack. So sometimes you'll see a widget you didn't create because Apple thinks maybe that's a widget you'd like to add. And it makes it really easy to keep things organized. Which brings us to the last piece of this lesson. Widgets are great, but one of the things we do with applications is we click on them in order to open the application up. So when I want to go into Calendar, I'm clicking on the Calendar app to get there. When I want to go into Photos, I'm clicking on the Photos app to get there. But if you have your widgets set up properly, you can use widgets to open the app. For example, if I'm here on my Reminders list and I click over here on the left side, it's going to open up reminders directly to that list, letting me get right to business. Or if I have my calendar open and I need to see things beyond today, I can just tap right on the calendar widget and go right to the day that I'm looking for easily and simply. The same holds true for Photos or Notes. By using widgets, you're replacing the app in certain cases, so you don't actually need to keep all your space available for the apps because the widgets serve the exact same purpose, but also give you more information without even having to click on them. And those are some of the best tools about using widgets. Learning which size you've got, adding widgets into a widget stack when they're the same size, making sure your widgets either automatically rotate or stay on the page that you want, and learning that you can get right into that app by clicking on that widget rather than using the application itself, which can allow you to create beautiful screens that have information without you needing to click on things. Now, all of that is amazing, awesome information, but as usual, there's one more thing, and I've saved it for my MacWhisperer Power Tip. Before I drop that tip, if you got great value out of today's video, give it a thumbs up. That makes it easier for other people to find it. And if you've got a question or a comment, drop down below. Let me know what you thought about this lesson. If you have questions, if you're having a problem, I love to hear from you guys, and I always respond to your comments. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you know what time it is? That's right, it's time for you to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and that notify bell so that you'll always be alerted every time I drop new content, which will make it so much easier to get the most out of your Apple products without having to hunt around my next video. And with that being said, it's now time for the Power Tip. Widgets are super powerful for a number of reasons which we've talked about in this lesson. They make it easy for you to see all sorts of information without having to click on the app, and they can beautify your screen, showing you photos or other information right here, making it simple and convenient. But there's one other thing that you can use widgets for, and you might notice the widget that I have at the top here that says Widgets. There are several applications that can help you create your own widgets. The one that I used here is called Widgetsmith. So let's search for widgets and open up Widgetsmith. Now right here, we can see that we can create widgets for our home screen or for our lock screen. In this case, we're going to talk about the home screen. For clarity, Widgetsmith is a free app, and you can use a lot of what we're talking about without paying for it. But if you really want to get the most out of an app like this, you may want to sign up for the premium service, which can allow you to do all sorts of other functions beyond what we're talking about today. For this video, we're just going to use the free app. But know, if you like what Widgetsmith does, there's a world of other options out there. Now, as we look at Widgetsmith, we can see that here there are small widgets and medium widgets, and even large widgets. So you can pick whatever widget size you want to create. In this case, let's create a medium widget. I'm going to click the Add Medium Widget button right here, and it opens up onto this screen. As we scroll through these widgets, you'll find all sorts of widgets in different sections, like interactive widgets with monthly calendars or hourly graphs or music collections or photo collections. As you look through these separate widgets, keep your eye open for that little star in the upper right-hand corner. That means that widget is a premium widget and you need to pay in order to access it. In this case, I'm going to scroll down to the Photos section, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom where it says Custom Text. The majority of the widgets I create are just text widgets, so they're really easy to use. I can click right here and open up the custom text. At the top where you see widgets, there's also a theme section. Let's click on the theme tab here. In the theme section, you could choose any one of the custom themes, or you can create your own by clicking on the customize theme down below and choosing different font styles, different tints, different backgrounds, different borders, different artwork, etc. Again, keep your eyes open for the little star letting you know that's a premium feature, but there's enough free features here that most people can find what they want easily and simply. I'm going to click the cancel button here. Now to the right of the theme tab is the text tab, and in here we can rewrite whatever the text is here and make it say anything you want. Now, why would I want to put text on a widget? I'll explain in just a moment, but before I do, let's click the Save button in the upper right-hand corner here so we don't lose what we worked on. Now remember, this is medium number 14. We could give it a name if we wanted to, but I'll just remember medium number 14. Let's swipe up. One of the things I really like to do on my phone screens is keep them simple and clear so that specific apps are organized on specific pages. This allows me to have third-party apps on their own page, or specific media apps showing, or my productivity apps, or all sorts of different apps organized by a simple page with a really clear widget title at the top, letting me know exactly what apps I'm looking at without having to flip from page to find the app that I need. And once you've created a Widgetsmith widget, you can add it the same way you add other widgets, by pressing and holding on your screen to get to edit mode, clicking the plus button in the upper right-hand corner, and we're going to search directly for Widgetsmith. There it is right there. You can see there's our small, our medium, and our large. We want a medium. I'm going to press and hold on it, and I'm going to drag it directly onto the screen. Now notice this particular Widgetsmith widget says third-party apps, which isn't what we created. Tapping on the widget will turn it around and allow us to choose the specific one we created. Medium, number 14, and then tap away from it. Now we can click Done, and right here we've created a beautiful widget that helps us organize our screens and convey the message that I'm really grateful that you watched this video. So that's what we've got all about widgets. If you tap into the tools of widgets, you will find that they pay dividends. They make it easier for you to get into apps. They show all of your information in one page. If you use just a small portion about what we discussed in today's video, you'll find that it makes it easier for you to do all sorts of things like jumping into the app you need or having the information you want right on the screen without you having to hunt around or look for it. So that's what we've got for today's video all about widgets. I'm Stewart, the MacWhisperer, and it's my passion and profession to help you get more done with your Apple products than you ever thought possible. And I will see you next time.